Well, hello everybody. Car Chronicles. Welcome. You ready? So let's talk about the narcissist dysfunctional family dynamics. Some of you guys know, and some of you guys have heard of the different roles that people play within the family of a narcissist. And we're going to look at it with the explanation or the concept of the alcoholic or the alcoholism and the dysfunctional roles that people play. This is where the concept comes from. So you have the addict, which is the alcoholic, or you can even use substance abuse, where the addict, who is the person who's sick within the family, who is addicted or has a dependence on alcohol or a substance. So they are addicted to a substance, much like the narcissist who is addicted to fuel, not the supply, fuel. The addict who prioritizes getting fuel because this is the only way that they can cope. This is the only way that they can survive, is by getting that fuel or getting the alcohol or the substance. Prioritizes this over any type of relationship, over any type of family, because they have to have that substance. They have to have that fuel. That is a narcissist. They have to have that fuel. For a narcissist, fuel is that excessive and constant admiration or need for attention. They're not able to regulate on their own. Most people are able to kind of regulate on their own, give themselves self-pep talks and everything. Before a narcissist, that fuel is that excessive ego boost, that excessive need to be made to feel good. Put it that way. To feel good for the day. And if they don't feel good, it's your fault, not their fault. The other individual, which is considered to be the supply, is the enabler, is the codependent. And this is the person that brings the homeostasis within this dysfunctional relationship and makes sure that every person within the family plays their role in order to support and maintain this dysfunctional environment within the house surrounding this narcissist or surrounding the addict. You know, they're the sun and everybody else orbits around this sun. That is the narcissist. So the enabler, which is the primary supply, is the codependent. And all the other people that play the role in the family, the children, those would be considered the secondary supply. So the primary supply, which is the codependent, the enabler, they take it upon themselves to protect the narcissist at all costs. They don't see a problem. Much like, those of you that have been the primary supply, you don't see a problem and you defend them fiercely. And a primary source supply or the main enabler, the codependent, is usually the most abused individual. Go to Narcissist Dysfunctional Family Dynamics Part 2. So as we said before, the narcissist or in the alcoholic dynamics, the alcoholism and the dysfunctional family dynamics, which is the same as the narcissist, that's where it was adopted from. The narcissist is the sick individual. In other words, they're the one with the disease. Based off of, alcoholism. They're the one with the disease. And so that narcissist has to get fuel any way possible. And so their addiction is to the fuel. And then you have the primary source supply, the most abused, because they are the greatest enablers and they don't see a problem and they will defend them. They've become their flying monkey. And so they are a staunch defender of the narcissist and they will defend at all cost. They help to keep that family in that dysfunctional state. Is a dysfunctional system, but that enabler, based off of what that narcissist is telling them, is keeping that family in this dysfunctional homeostasis, some type of homeostasis, and make sure that everybody plays their role in this family. So now you have the secondary sources of supply, which are the children, and each one of them also play a role within the family. You have the scapegoat, you have the mascot, you have the lost child, and we'll talk about that on another video. But each one of them plays a role within that family in order to sustain that homeostasis, that dysfunctional homeostasis within that family. And that primary makes sure that everybody plays their role. And those of you that are the scapegoat, the scapegoat is the voice. The scapegoat is the one that goes against the grain, and they're the voice, and they're going to point out the problems. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a video on each individual person that played a role within that family. Look at the narcissist as a car with a leaking tank. They constantly are leaking out fuel. They can't hold the fuel because they are empty. Look at the narcissist as a car with a leaking tank. They can't hold anything. They can't hold anything. They're empty on the inside. They're so empty that they have no choice but to find fuel to keep them moving forward. That's what a narcissist is like, with a leaking tank. No matter how much fuel they put in there into the tank, it always leaks out. They can only go so far before they have to find fuel to fill themselves back up. And sadly enough, the fuel comes at the cost of breaking supply, breaking or stealing supply or tricking supply and forcing them to pay the cost of the fuel. They pay the cost to release that fuel to that narcissist. You feel drained, you feel tired, you feel wore out because they're sucking you dry. And once they suck you dry and you can't give them the amount of fuel that they need to function, they have to go find fuel somewhere else. That's the nature of the narcissist and the dynamics of that dysfunctional family. Car Chronicles, the narcissist dysfunctional family dynamics. As we were talking about this dysfunctional system and the primary and secondary within the family system, most of us look at it from the perspective of a romantic relationship. However, you can also look at it from the perspective of the dysfunctional family when it comes to a parent and the primary source or the enabler or the codependent. The primary codependent can be the golden child within the family. And so that golden child does everything that they can to maintain this dysfunctional homeostasis within the family. They make sure that everybody plays their role, and they take upon the nature or the attitude of the narcissist, even when it comes to punishment. And by punishing, like the narcissist does, it forces people to go back into their roles, or to force them back in their role. Except, however, our beloved scapegoat. But in that dynamic, you can also have the narcissist as the dysfunctional, the addict, the one that's in need of all the fuel, the son that everyone revolves around. And then you have the primary source of supply, and even in adult children, the primary source of supply, or the codependent, the primary one, as the golden child. So some of you think that the golden child have it so easy. No, they don't. The golden child is the one that has to live up to whatever expectations that this narcissist has, and they don't live their own life. They live in the shadow of the narcissist, and the narcissist vicariously lives through the golden child. But once again, I'm going to do a TikTok, and I'm going to break down each of the roles within that dysfunctional family. A lot of times what the people on the outside do is they re-victimize the victims. And they don't realize that they're doing it. And so they're helping. They become a flying monkey along with each and every person in that family, who also may have become a flying monkey. But they become a flying monkey even if the children or the different roles are trying to escape away from the abuse and that power and control under that narcissist. So society and people on the inside, it's not good to talk about something you don't know anything about. It's not good to give advice or tell somebody what to do and what not to do when you really don't know the family dynamics. You don't know what the people are suffering inside of the family. But of course, you know that most people always got something to say. They know better than the average person. They got to give their opinion, and they don't know what's happening inside that family dynamic. They don't realize that the narcissists, even in their youth, have abused and misused the people within the family. And some people are trying to escape, and they cut them off altogether, where they go no contact and want nothing to do with their family. The dynamics of a narcissistic family.